I want to talk to you today about allegory. Allegory. An allegory is, in essence, a lesson that can be learned. You take two different things, two different ideas, tangentially related, but you talk about one while talking about the other. The allegory in this video is that of the lone pillar. It's covered in growth, as you can see. It's got leafy greens. It's got a dirt base. It's even got some spiderweb on it. All stone. This is no fixture of nonsense. This is no fixture of pure support. This is the lone pillar. Now, granted, of course, you can find another one there, and then you have a bunch down there that go in a bit of a zigzag pattern. So what is the allegory of the lone pillar? The lone pillar, in this instance, is one covered in growth, and I wanted to come here at some point, which here we are, to speak on what this is, what this means, and what it could represent for anyone who could be seeing it, who could take a look at it themselves and understand this as I guess you could say, an example to live by. See, the lone pillar, what is a pillar anyway? A pillar is something that is built to typically support a structure. It's a part of a greater thing. Sometimes, as you can see with examples from like Rome, Greece, these various places around the world, mostly Europe, but I'm sure Japan has its examples as well. As an example, often you find pillars, they are a part of a greater structure so that you actually have support. They are support beams, but pillars specifically stand upright. Some pillars, though, aren't supporting anything, and they're by themselves, and they're usually broken down a bit. Damage, cracks in them, no more use. They just are an artifact of their time. They stand alone forever, only to be admired by people who wondered about the past, about history. The lone pillar, this one in particular as an example. So, a pillar, it's meant to support things, and this one in particular is covered in growth. The allegory of the lone pillar is you are something that can give over structural support. And if you are someone who does provide structural support for whether it be your family, your business, your society, you are important in that regard. The lone pillar, if you have just the one, it stands alone. Of course, I mentioned there are other pillars, same exact case, they all have growth on them. But with the case of the lone pillar with growth, this is, in a way, something that resembles someone who is strong, someone who struck out on their own, someone who they do what they can because that's their purpose, right? I mean, these structures, they have their intended purpose. And a pillar like this, if you were to see the actual, I don't want to call this a courtyard, but if you see this platform here where we're standing, it's by itself in the middle of the entire cement floor here. I don't know if this is cement, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's standing alone. This is why this is the lone pillar and not a pillar among many. This is the only pillar jutting out of the ground in this gray expanse. This gray expanse, it is, of course, it is a part of a building, a business. This is itself a place where people meet and talk, and they may talk around this pillar. Granted, there's no tables here. This isn't really for the purpose of people meeting and talking, but you can do that here. It's very photo-esque, statuesque, some may say as well, because of the allegory of the lone pillar. It's, in a way, statuesque. This pillar, standing on its own, where many could surround it, jutting up from the ground, from the dirt, right? This is a fixture that accompanies nature, as does man. It's the kind of thing that you could look to as a passive example that you overlook because you think about the day-to-day modern world, everything else, right? Just like a man or any typical man, any average man that lives in the society of ours here, they are not regarded as the pillars and pioneers that they are. They're not rewarded directly by society with the appreciation they deserve. They don't get the satisfaction they may require, that they may be owed. And that's a real shame. And I wanted to take the time to talk about the lone pillar, the allegory here, because I think if we do shine a light on these things, what must be appreciated, this, that, and the other, right? I think more people will think a bit more openly, even in their passive thoughts, even in their, their bedroom. They may think about, what this all means, what matters about this. It's not like we can just go through life and just look at people as not mattering. People have their place in society, and that's important. But people don't think about what society is. Society is the ongoing result of effort, the culmination of struggle and sweat. A lot of us have fought and died just to make it possible for me to even talk about the allegory of the lone pillar. The lone pillar is itself a symbol of empowerment that we should admire, because even though this is just stone, this is just leaf, this is just from the ground to the ceiling, right? I am just bone, I am just flesh, and I am also contemplation. People don't regard the world that they walk through, they pass through every day as what it is, okay? They just don't do that. I mean, when's the last time you really thought about something like this? When's the last time you thought about an allegory you could derive from a metal rusted set of stairs that you pull down, right? That you've seen in like New York and places like that. People aren't thinking about these things. They aren't thinking about, religious or otherwise. They're not thinking about like how incredible a cathedral is and like what it means for us to be able to create these things, right? A mud hut does not compare. A mud hut it's emblematic of the failure of savagery. People, when you think on just nature as a primal creature within it, a mud hut can never compare. It's emblematic of a world that's failed. Because if you can only build the simplest of things as a society, I don't think your society is worth much. You may think, well, some societies, some people, they divert their attention to other things because focus is greater in other places for these societies. And I would say that's a foolish thing to accept just so that the fucking girl with blue hair at the fucking coffee lounge doesn't look at you with murderous intent. You're a fucking coward, pussy. We have to understand what it means for these things to exist in the fucking first place. So, by themselves, in an open space, so passively and honest. There's no appreciation for this except that it keeps the roof from falling down. Think about what even that means. And you don't even recognize that, do you? That this itself, this incredible allegory that a person could derive from something so simple that does keep the roof from crashing down on your head. It's the allegory of the individual that strikes out on their own and may be overtaken by the nature of their surroundings, the nature of their world, overtaken by things, whether it be the duty that they have to themselves or their surroundings. Again, the roof is not falling down. The sky is kept intact because of these things that we do, these very important things. Ask yourself if you ever in your life thought of a pillar like this before. You probably haven't, but you'll ask yourself stupid questions like, does a tree make a noise when it falls in the woods? If you're that kind of person, you might have problems. And I feel bad for you, it's why you should be here. Because you should know that you require suggestion, if not correction. And if not correction or suggestion, maybe suggestive correction or corrective suggestion. And this isn't a bad thing. Society, the people contained within it, households, right? All of it regards an important structure. This is why you have to abhor communism. You have to do that because, communism only works on a small scale. It only works among the people that agree to it, right? Socialism can only exist successfully in households that agree to that kind of thing, because in order for you to have such a forced and borderline militaristic community, right, which is oxymoronic, okay, just so you know, in order for you to have that, you have to have people that agree to things, right? To agree to pay, particularly, in my numerous agreements with people that I've lived with, we would split bills, right? We'd split the cost of a pizza, this, that, and the other thing, because that's how that works, right? It's a community, all this, that, and the other thing, and you understand it. We all know this because if you're here and you've made it this far, you're probably smart, or you are seeking the opportunity to improve yourself. And I can help you with that. But the good news for you is all it costs you is your time, your patience, and your willingness to understand. And a lot of you need to be doing that anyway. I am important, but not as important as the allegory of the pillar. The pillar itself, pillars, right? They keep the world from falling down. They do that, and it's an incredible thing. And most people just do not understand just how important this is, to even understand in the first place how important it is. So, I mean, if you ever find yourself, right, in the natural world, if you ever find yourself in the natural world and you wonder, what the deal is, try to think deeply, right? Because you may not understand an actual purpose for some things, but if you just think about it, it may mean something different. And at that point, you are contemplative and probably deserve to pat yourself on the back because, contemplation, not a lot of people really think about things, right? There's the idea that a person who is in trouble the most is a person who can't visualize, an apple in their forehead, in their head. If you can't visualize an apple in your mind, there's a suggestion there that not only are you in trouble, but that you are the most dangerous person in the room all the time, and not in the good way. The good kind of danger is a capable person, someone who is fearless, someone who can get something done. The dangerous kind of person that you don't want around you is the kind of person that doesn't have an internal monologue because they don't have a conscience, like the devil and the angel on your shoulders, the voice in your head that you speak with, that helps you like think through things going on. And I say voice in your head, idiots out there will think, oh, well, if you could do that, then you're schizophrenic. And, maybe we are, but at least we're not dangerous and unhinged in some latent way where we'll find out later if we should have put you in prison or not for existing without the ability to think, right? The ability to imagine an apple in your forehead. And honestly, like those people who can't imagine an apple in their forehead, the people with no internal monologue, the people who can't like reason things, people without a conscience, they're the worst people in our society. They're the absolute worst people in our society because if you can't rationalize something before you do it, if you can't think on a concept, without imagery around you, if you can't see that fucking apple in your head, then I think you belong in the fucking mental ward. I think a lot of other people would agree with me if they just talked about it and got down to brass tacks, like what it means for us to have people like that in our society, right? The one that we built, the one we're still working on, the one we're still working to protect, whether it be from an invasion or communists that live next door. So, the lone pillar. Ask yourself a question. Is this you? Are you someone who can strike out on their own? Are you someone of fortitude? Are you someone who gets overtaken by nature and still remains and allows for nature to exist with it, whether it be harmony or just the state of things, the nature of them, right? Do you get enveloped in your society? Do you get involved in it naturally? Can you integrate? Are you a part of a society that can make such a thing like this, as passive as it is, and people don't fucking think about this kind of shit, except for me, I guess. If you are capable of integration and standing the test of time and holding the fucking roof up, keeping the sky from falling to the ground, if this is you, I probably want to vote for you for president. I probably want you as a roommate. I probably want you as someone who works EMS or firefighters, so that we have people that we can trust because they are capable. They're not just a product of their environment in a way where they are unaffected, but they show that they can still be with the society, okay? If you are a matter of molecule to a degree that people look at you as being worth reverence because you do your job without complaints and you stand strong. I am not that kind of person. I cannot stand strong. I did not have a good early life. I'm not Jewish either. Jokes aside. Jokes aside. But this is just like, this is the kind of thing you should strive to be. Someone who is a fixture, someone who is unflinching, unchanging. You are what you are. You don't pretend. You're not playing fucking dress about here. You're not pretending that you're a gender that you aren't. You're not telling people that you're there for them, but you're actually a fucking coward. And you sure as shit aren't the person that says, we're going to make this country great again, and then get Israel involved to the degree that now people are wondering if free speech should be allowed anymore. Be the pillar. Be the lone pillar. Be the thing that can stand the test of time. And don't make any bones about it. Don't be a pussy, okay? Because if you're a lone pillar that exists in a society for a good, great purpose, if you are, then you're worth it.